What is up, everybody? Good morning. Today is Tuesday, June 29th. Hope everybody enjoyed yesterday. It was a good Monday. Uh, watch some soccer. There's some really good soccer on yesterday. Uh, Spain, interesting game, and congrats to Switzerland. That was just phenomenal soccer. Also, yeah, NFTs. Forgot about that. A lot going on with NFTs yesterday. Lot to cover, a lot going on forward. Price action everywhere. Again, yesterday was the theme was spaces. Like if you got into space yesterday, you definitely got some big alpha. The two big spaces were obviously Jack and Jay Z, and then there was one later in the evening with Beanie G Money and Tyler Ward. Jack got on with Jay Z to talk about Tidal and how they are looking at NFTs and the structure and how that impacts music and artists and revenue take the rake when you stream or sell music. So obviously a technology that's going to completely revolutionize the music industry, and to see Tidal being so forward thinking and sticking with it, because they mentioned this back in February that they were going to take like 100-day period to like analyze and figure out how it plays into their business model. To see that they're still with it and they believe with it and they're ready to kind of double down on it is very exciting. So I'm bullish Tidal, bullish Jack, bullish Jay Z. Definitely worth keeping an eye on. But was a really good talk. Had about 7,000 people in that spaces when it was at its peak. Important to know that there's only 8 hours left in Punk's comic voting for Ape Madness. There are some close ones. I am winning. I'm up 65%. There is a very, very close race here for Bored Ape 6209 and 8496. If you haven't voted, go vote there. I believe that there's also a very tight race, just about a 1% difference here between for Jeff and The Economist. Go vote if you haven't. 8 hours left. Very exciting for round one. Yesterday, also seeing lots of activity around Meebits. Right after yesterday's morning mint came out, we saw some huge buys come in for the high 40s and mid 30s Ethereum purchases. This one rolled in at 48 Ethereum. We saw one at 39, also for a pig. 3D glasses seems to be the hot thing on the market for Meebits. And if you look at the Meebits activity chart, it's been pretty dead, only about 15 to 30 sales a day. And then yesterday, peaking the volume a little bit to where we got up to 180 Ethereum in volume, which is up from only a 50 Ethereum that we saw the day before. So certainly Meebits are getting some attention and some love. I think the floor is up a little bit on them. Let me double check. I'm curious about that. But yeah, Meebits certainly was oversold. I think we are going to see them rise up, like I mentioned the other day. There we are. We're already back to 1 Ethereum floors. I'm expecting this to be a little bit higher as we go throughout the week. There is just a lot of buying activity from big accounts, and with that, obviously people follow to see what's happening. Bad news from OpenSea. Obviously, Tezos has been delayed. If you weren't aware, a lot of projects that were working on bringing their projects to kind of OpenSea, and they're like going to launch with this idea that they would have more publicity, are kind of now just confused on where to go because there's obviously not as many eyes on these projects. And Nate here from OpenSea explaining in this thread kind of their thought process for looking at this integration, what needed to be done to make the best path forward. And obviously, community was not happy with them. I do think that we'll have this on OpenSea by fall or late fall, winter time. But this just shows that there are obviously development steps that need to be taken that weren't either considered or understood. But it's important to see that OpenSea is making that, they're not rushing it. Speaking of rushing, everybody last night was rushing right to Zed Run as they announced that breeding is back. People were very excited to see this. People immediately got their horses to be out for stud, but we did see some issues where there were horses that were being bred, I think like 15 to 20 times. There was some sort of bug. Definitely worth understanding how this works. I'm excited to get a horse in the coming weeks and get involved with this. It is a really, really good project. So hopefully everybody is having luck breeding and good luck in the races. The other space I mentioned at the beginning of the show was that Beanie Maxi, G Money, and Lord Tyler Ward basically got on last night for a 2-hour Twitter Spaces talking about XYZ and polymorphs. There is so much utility to polymorphs that I think people don't see when it meets the eye, with the ability to scramble and re-roll essentially for 0.01 to 0.02, 0.04, 0.08, exponentially increasing in price. This kind of meets the middle line between like art, collectibles, customizing. There's some like game theory involved. Obviously, this turns the entire like market structure for what we expect, because the normal project is just 1 in 10,000. My traits are this. This is their rarity. With polymorphs, there is no like very rare trait, because it's always dynamically changing with rerolls. They're introducing new properties. It's just different, and I think G Money, Beanie really see that this is going to be a historic project. The floor going into that discussion was like 0.015, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. We're already up to 0.076. So this floor has kind of ripped upwards as that talk was happening, and after that talk, with people wanting to get one of these in their wallet, even if it's just for a quick flip. So yeah, this is an exciting project worth keeping your eyes on. Hopefully there is more information about polymorphs and XYZ. There was discussion about how DAOs can impact the project. It's just really forward thinking, and Tyler is a really smart guy, so definitely keep your eyes on this. Also worth keeping your eyes on, Art Block Series 3 has concluded as of yesterday, I believe. With that conclusion, there will now be kind of a hiatus with new curated drops coming out, and I believe with the playground side of things, maybe not. Maybe correct me on that. But Series 3 is concluded. There will be a period of no drops from the curated for sure. Prices, however, from on OpenSea for art blocks are way up. Notably, Squiggles have now a floor of 1 Ethereum. You could pick these up weeks ago for, if you wanted one for 0.6 to 0.5 all day long. If you wanted a fuzzy, you could pick up a fuzzy for under 1 Ethereum. Just the art blocks hype and the art blocks demand has just gone through the roof. Currently, if you want a fuzzy, the floor is 2.6. I expect this will be bought up today or tomorrow, bringing the floor to just about 3 Ethereum. And then if you want to go as crazy as picking up a bold, the bold floor is now 4.9, almost 5. And I don't think we'll see these rarer ones go for very cheap ever again. I saw one of these get picked up, I think, for like 23 last week. The floor is already at 40. So art blocks continuing their absolute rampage up on the floor prices. Bulls on the run are bulls on the block. Also, their floor is up a little bit. I think the floor was closer to 1 yesterday. I don't think we're going to see any quick price movements here today or tomorrow. Definitely one where the narrative within the community is going to direct the prices on the floor. So if you see a lot of FUD being thrown around, you might see these prices drop. If you see a lot of people start saying that this is a good project all of a sudden, I think you see prices go. I think it's very speculative at this point, but worth keeping an eye on as well. Pickles up from their 0.02 floor yesterday. If you bought, you are up about 100% on the floor prices. I don't know what we're going to see happen here. This is just an interesting project from kind of the memeability and the funniness of it all. Cole is certainly a really funny guy and did a great job with this project, the UI and the design, and kind of just playing into the narrative of rug pulling in the NFT space. If you have one, congrats, you have a piece of like NFT history. I don't know what the longevity prices for these look like. Again, buy what you like. Be happy if it goes to zero. Don't spend more than you can't afford to lose. Bored Ape Yacht Club down under 3. Geez, not surprising. We had a lot of hype going into the dog release. I think prices are gonna pull back just a little bit more. Like I said, I don't see us going under 2.5. I think we're getting very close to the floor. If we go under 2.5, I can see that being an opportunity to buy and flip on the next news, or we see this run back up to 4 very easily. So if you want a free Ethereum, probably, and we get too low, buy one. Dogs also way down. Now we are under 1, and now we're under 0.85, which I think we were at yesterday. I don't see this going under 0.5. Just again, these are all opinions. Don't take it as financial advice. The dogs certainly getting some blowback from the cartoon avatar FUD that is being thrown around. But also worth remembering that if these get cheap enough, it is almost a hedge for the Bored Ape Yacht Club and Bored Ape Kennel Club future releases. So if you think this will have any utility for the project, it is certainly an easy way to pick up and get involved. Wicked Craniums still at 0.2. A lot of the action here has been in the mid to high tier. The floor hasn't seen much action, and if there has been any purchases on the floor, we've quickly seen other people listing to sell on the floor. So certainly the mid to high tier showing that they have the most liquidity. The Gutter Cats now over 1 Ethereum. I think I said that this would continue in this direction yesterday just because of the low supply. Demand seems to be high. They have kind of a cool vibe to them. I see these at 1.5 in the future very easily just because of the coolness of them and the low supply. Easy supply demand economics. VeeFriends still at 4. Ethereum floor 4.3. It's going to be interesting to see what VeeFriends does with Ethereum up to $2,200. Again, nothing has changed for this project. If anything, you were super smart with purchasing in the last week with Ethereum down, and you're up in USD currently if you bought. The floor is probably going to just keep inching upwards as we get closer and closer to reveal of the first conference. Pug sales are currently up. We're seeing a lot of purchasing in the low teens. However, the big stuff in the higher range is not stopping either. We saw 50 Ethereum sale yesterday. We also saw some big shade sales in the high 20s and 30. We're not seeing anything like in the hundreds, but we are definitely seeing in the low, in the high teens to the low 30s. There is lots of price action worth analyzing a little bit, just as you make it one of these investments. If you buy a 200 Ethereum CryptoPunk, what is the liquidity on the side of that? Probably a little less illiquid or a little bit more illiquid just because of you're pricing out certain buyers. The floors and certainly just off the floors seem to have the most liquidity. Right now, the floor is up to 17.4. If you bought on the floor last week around 13 to 15, you are up. You can obviously take those and throw them into the pool if you want to get something else. We did see that happen with somebody this morning who purchased a punk very low and then took it to the pool and rolled a couple times to get the punk they wanted. So that was very exciting. We also have seen a lot of people taking profits from Bored Ape Yacht Club, Bored Ape Kennel Club, and some of these art blocks sales, and putting that money right back into Punks. Ethereum is up to 2222. Bitcoin is also up. The whole market is green. Love to see that, unless you are in stable coins. But I do expect us to, at some point here, get near a resistance point. We've been on a rip straight up, and I am expecting a little bit of consolidation. Even if it doesn't go under 2,000, I do think we'll see like, a 5 to 7.5% just kind of pullback, making sure nobody's getting too crazy on leverage. And if people are leveraged up right now and think this is the big pull up, that could be disastrous on a pullback just because of those liquidations. That's pretty much it. Definitely keep an eye on the market as we move forward, as a lot of these art blocks projects are just straight ripping up. And a lot of these other projects are starting to get more eyes on them as the narrative around them becomes stronger, such as the polymorphs. The one last thing I'll mention is that we are launching NFT spaces from Ore Labs, which is kind of our technical side of things that helps with the show and analytics and how we get a lot of the tech side of things done. NFT Spaces will be an aggregator for the NFT community. If we are following you, essentially when you go live, we'll send out a notification to everybody who's following us. It's an easier way to get notifications and keep track of who is live in the space of NFTs. So if that seems like something that would be valuable, go ahead, give us a follow, tweet about us. I appreciate it. That concludes today's Morning Mint. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, and I hope you guys pick up some cool NFTs.